The smart way to use SpaceX Starlink without overpaying. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me. So today we're going to be talking about SpaceX Starlink and how to not waste your money. The bottom line is a lot of people don't know about the pricing and the different plans and what they can do with which ones and how many megabits and how many megabytes and what are they losing with this one to that one and so on and so forth. But that's why you have me. That's my job. So today I'm going to give you some helpful how-tos. I'm going to give you some hacks, different things you could do that you're not going to see on other channels that will definitely save you money. Before the end of this video, I think you're going to learn something. And like I said, you're not only going to save money, but you're going to get the most out of your SpaceX Starlink because there's been some changes made to how roaming works, some changes to the hardware as far as pricing and some other things. They've gotten rid of plans and I'm going to break it all down for you in this video. Maybe I'll put up some little pop-up pictures, some little tables or something, make it pretty. So do me a favor, hit pause, go down into the comment area and leave me a comment. I want to hear from you. Has anything that I've given you today, any of the information helped you get the right plan or the right gear? Also, have I helped you in the past? Let me know because that makes me feel good, to be completely honest with you. But that's the whole point of this channel. I always say, listen, if I can help people save money and at least understand tech, that's what I do here. It's all about the helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, as I always say. And then finally, the why. That's what this channel is all about, is the why. So you know why you're doing what you're doing, not just the how. The how is the easy thing, right? But if you understand the why, you can kind of move forward. That's why I make these videos evergreen. You can watch this video now or you can watch it in a month or two, and you'll probably still learn something. Anyways, to start out with, this is kind of like a price bomb that happened. Just to give you some backstory, I got my SpaceX Starlink like about, let's say 60 months ago or so, and it cost me $599. And it started out at $99 a month. It went from $99 to $110 a month and then $120 a month, and that's where it stayed ever since. Well, it was $599. This SpaceX Starlink big bomb that I would call it is that the Mini, which I think everyone should own, and I'll tell you why before the end of the video, the Mini has dropped price. Originally it started at like $599 and went to $499, then $349, then $249, $250. As of today, I saw the price drop to $199. So this is by far, I think it's amazing, and you'll know why. Just hang tight. At $199, it is an absolute no-brainer. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, why, Joe? Is the price going down? It went from $599 all the way down to $199. Well, you remember I told you this was going to happen like months and months ago. Well, it's happening. And the reason why it's happening, in my personal opinion, remember, I don't work for these people. My personal opinion is SpaceX's Starship will start launching and delivering the Starlink version 3 satellites on orbit very soon, probably by second quarter of this year. When that happens, we will start seeing gigabit speeds. They'll be faster. And like I've told many of you, especially on the JC live show, I do the live show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. Definitely hang out with me. But I've told you guys many times on the JC live show that once this happens, there will be some new kits that come out that will be, let's say, dialed in, let's just call it, to the faster speeds, to the gigabit speeds. Even if those dish do not receive gigabit, they will receive faster speeds due to this X reason. X, pardon the pun. So that being said, most likely they're trying to clear out some inventory. That's why we're seeing the price drop to $199. Does that mean you should wait? No, because $199 is awesome and you're getting an amazing piece of gear that you're going to be able to use for years to come. Now, if you want to upgrade later on, that's fine. But remember, you're going to pay a premium when the new one comes out. Maybe it'll be $599 again. So for $199, it is really, really a great, an amazing deal. Now, remember I told you there was a plan that they got rid of, it went extinct? Well, that's the 10 by 10 plan. Do you remember the plan where you pay $10 and you get 10 gigabytes for your roaming service? Well, it's no longer. Instead of the $10 plan, the only or the cheapest way to have a roaming package now is the $50 per month roaming package, which gives you 100 gigabytes of data. There's a lot of people out there that are crying about this, that they're just moaning, they just don't understand it, and I get it. And there's something even better than this plan. And what I'm going to do before the end of this video is I'm going to tell you kind of a secret sauce on how to use the different plans and when to use them and when to switch to get the most for every dollar that you spend on SpaceX Starlink. That is the most important thing. And how do we do it? The way we do it is that SpaceX Starlink opened up switching. You can change your plan anytime you want, right from your phone, right from your app. You could be, let's say, halfway through a month, and now you say, okay, I don't want this, maybe, let's say the 100 gig plan. I want to go with a full unlimited plan. It's done. Now, it is prorated, so you're going to end up having to pay a specific amount to move you in, but we get that. That's going to be with any type of plan. Whenever you move, let's say early, you're going to be prorated into anyways. The bottom line is you can switch no matter when. So at any given time, you could switch from unlimited roaming down to the 100, or you could switch that off completely and go to what I would say is the secret plan, the hack plan, which is the standby plan. And that's $5 per month. Now, this thing is, I call it the bricking insurance plan. And the reason I say that is because people don't understand how good it is. And you know what? Let me spend a few minutes telling you, because this way you understand it. Because some people say, well, I used to have this plan where I could just put the service on hold indefinitely and then turn it back on whenever I want. And it didn't cost me anything. I was able to put it on pause. Well, they got rid of pause and now you have standby. And instead of it being free, it's $5 per month. So you're paying $60 a year, but you're getting something that is absolutely incredible. And the reason why you don't see that it's incredible because you don't understand networking or you're not understanding what you can actually do with it. So to start out with, once again, it's not $0, it's $5 per month. It's standby instead of pause. And what this gives you is up to 1 megabits symmetrical. What does that mean? That means you get 1 megabit up, 1 megabit down. Now, a lot of people will be like, well, 1 megabit, I'm used to 100 megabits. I'm used to 1 megabit. That's all you get. But like I said, people don't understand, like, why is this good? Well, number one, the death clock. SpaceX Starlink kits have a death clock built into them. Now, this isn't like a self-destruct, like a James Bond type of thing that they stuck in there. It's just something that's kind of inevitable. It's the nature of the beast. Well, whenever you have a service like this, there is security patches that happen. If they just left it open, what would happen is SpaceX Starlink would get hacked very easily, but they can't. So as they keep closing doors, they require the dish to download the latest firmware so that those doors can be reopened. Does that kind of make sense? So if you were one of those people that would take your dish, throw it in the closet and put it on pause, and now try to use it in 11 months when you go back out to your campgrounds or you go out to the cabin and you fire that thing up and it does not load anymore. It doesn't download the latest firmware. Why? Because it can't connect due to security reasons. Some people have waited like 18 months to try to get the thing to fire back up and they're like, it's bricked. That's why I call the $5 standby plan the bricking insurance plan. What this means is you're not going to have a bricked unit that you have to put in a trouble ticket and wait a few days, and then they have to send you out a new kit, and now all of a sudden your camping is done and you can't take it with you. Or you're out in the cabin and you don't have any type of emergency communication because that's what you relied on, and now it doesn't work anymore. By having the standby plan, what that means is for your $5, you can continue to communicate with SpaceX Starlink even when you're not using it. So it's going to stay current. So when you need it, it's going to work. Kind of important, right? Well, there's nothing more important than just simply working, but what a lot of you don't know is what exactly can you do with this zombie connection, right? So going forward, I'm going to call this the zombie connection because that's kind of what it is. It's not dead and it's kind of alive, but it's slow, like a zombie, all right? So this zombie connection, giving you that symmetrical 1 by 1, 1 megabit by 1 megabit. What can you do with it? So this is kind of where people get it twisted. They don't realize there is a lot that you can do with a symmetrical 1 by 1 or 1 megabit by 1 megabit connection. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, actually more than a couple, just so you get an understanding. You understand how big this can be and how you can use it, because use case is everything. If I tell you about something and it's not in your wheelhouse, you have nothing, yeah, whatever. But if something kind of makes sense to you, then maybe you'll use it. So starting out with, can you make a phone call with a 1 by 1 connection? Absolutely. Making a high quality VoIP call, voice over IP, that's a VoIP call, costs you about 80 kilobits per second. All right. Now remember, you got 1 by 1. So you could technically make 10 simultaneous calls with that 1 by 1 connection. So obviously phone calls are not a problem at all. What else can you do? Well, on your phone, you could use WhatsApp, you could use Signal, you could use iMessage, you can use Maps, everything simultaneous without any kind of problem, as long as it's text-based, obviously. Now, you're not going to be using Instagram, things that are video first, because they're going to fully plug that 1 megabit connection. So you're not going to use Instagram, but that's not what this is for. This is for connections, being able to run a business, maybe using it as an emergency service. All right, that's what we're using this for. Now, another thing that you can do is, for example, if you're out in the wilderness somewhere and you need to make an emergency SOS call, right? You're not just going to do SOS. With this thing, you have the ability to send high-res images. Pretty cool. Let's say it's a high-res image of an injury, a broken leg, or who knows what. And you're trying, remember, you're out in the wilderness somewhere and you're sending it for triage, and they're going to tell you what to do before paramedics got there, let's say. You could do that. How long does it take? Well, anywhere from about 15 to 20 seconds to upload a high-quality image. 15 to 20 seconds. Not that long at all if you think about it. And that's with that 1 meg by 1 meg. Maybe you're taking a picture of a broken part and you're sending it off to a technician to tell you how to fix it. You're on a farm somewhere. You could do that. Once again, 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, and they're going to have that high-res image. Pretty damn cool. Now, when it comes to video streaming, people are going to be like, can you actually watch a movie or can you watch any type of video? Remember, you're not going to use Instagram, because that's, once again, what is it called? Video first, right? You could use X with no problem, but not Instagram, where it just starts playing just tons of videos. It'll just plug that 1 by 1 connection in just a second. You're going to get network error and network error. It's going to be a hot mess. You're not going to use that for this. But can you watch a video? Yes. Now, can you watch a 1080p or a 720p video? No. But you could watch like a 480p video without a problem. You might get a little buffering, but if you go down to 360 to 480, 360 would be perfect. 360 would probably be the perfect, let's say, the sweet spot. You would literally be able to watch a video on your phone with no buffering, with that 1 by 1 connection. That's pretty damn cool. Now remember, video goes all the way down from 360, it goes down to 240, and then below that you got like 144, I think. You don't want to go that low. But even at 240, you could have 2 videos running simultaneously with 2 people. Think about that. Now bear in mind, if you're going into YouTube to be able to make this happen, you got to go into that little cogwheel and set it manually to 360, because it's going to want to try to upload to you the larger video, and it's going to sit there and spool, but just go down there, mark it as 360, and you're good to go. All right. The other thing is people say, well, what can I do with it when it comes to my finances or running my business or banking? Well, it's not a problem at all. You can do your business from a beach. You can do business from the middle of a forest or on the top of a mountain or in the middle of a lake somewhere with no issues at all. Banking is not a problem at all because it's 100% text-based. It happens just instantaneously. When it comes to stock trading, people are like, can I trade stocks? With a 1 by 1 connection? Stock trading is instantaneous also. Now, the only thing that you're not going to do is have like 10, 15 candlestick, graphs going on you're not going to do that, obviously. This is just not enough data to be able to get that quick refresh. But if you want one to be able to see what's going on, you could do that and you can literally stock trade, which is really nuts. Remember, this is a one by one. Let me go back to ground zero. This is $5 a month. Everything I'm telling you about, this is $5 a month. This is where people don't understand. This is like the biggest hack, in my personal opinion, to SpaceX Starlink that people just don't wrap their head around on how useful this $5 a month is. I hope they keep it that way, because whenever I do these videos, people will just jump into it and then all of a sudden they'll cancel it, or they'll just raise the price because so many people get involved. This happened a couple of times now. Anyways, I digress. How about navigation? Right? Maybe you're in your car. You throw that Mini on your dash, you plug it into your lighter. Now, what can you do with it? Well, a lot. You could use your Google Maps. You could use your Waves. Now, remember, Waves or Google Maps, they use about 2 megabytes per hour. So a one-by-one connection will just pop stuff up instantaneous. You have no problem at all. The only problem that you're going to have is if you're trying to do satellite imagery. That's not going to work. Obviously, you're going to need to do vector, just a standard map. You're not going to do satellite maps, but still, a standard vector map, all those cells are going to pop up immediately. Now, if you want let's say the power move or a power user move, download the entire offline map to the city that you're going to be in. It'd take you probably about 2 to 3 minutes at these speeds. Download the whole map and then just go offline. That's it. You're not going to get real-time traffic reporting, but you're going to get the full map and you don't even have to connect anymore. Once again, that is the power user move, what to do. When it comes to like productivity or web type of stuff, running your business, that's also not a problem, because you're going to be able to get into Outlook. You're going to be able to get into your Gmail to check your mail. All that stuff is not a problem. Think about this. If you have a PDF document, you could download a 10 meg PDF document in like maybe 60 to 90 seconds. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time, but still you can do it. So like I said at the beginning, running a business using this $5 a month plan, you can actually do it. In other words, you can move around now and be able to conduct business. Let's say it's having to do with like radar. Let's say you're off grid somewhere and you want NOAA type of radar. You want to see the maps, the loops. 1 megabit per second, no problem. You're going to get a real-time loop with no issues. Like I told you before, you could get onto X. Why? Because X is more of a text base. But if you have videos going, obviously you're going to have a problem on X or any other. You don't want to be on Instagram. You don't want to be on TikTok or anything, as they call them, video first type of social media, because that's not going to work. And rightfully so. You only got that 1-by-1 connection. Now, there's another thing that a lot of people don't think about, and that's when it comes to power. When you're off grid, you want to use as little power as possible, because a lot of times you're going to plug this unit into like a Jackery or an EcoFlow or some type of solar generator, right? So the least amount of power means that you'll be able to run it for the most amount of time. Simple math, right? It makes sense. So what is really cool here is using this 1-by-1 connection. Since it is such a small connection, it uses just a trickle of power, a very small amount of power, probably maybe 30 watts, 40 watts the most, probably like 35 watts, somewhere on there, a very small amount. And like I said before, if there's anything that you're doing that you don't need to be online for, you can flip a switch, like I said, to download a map and then turn it off if you want. That's fine too. And then now use no power. But this gives you the ability for smart homes or IoT, Internet of Things type of stuff. So let's say if you're on a farm and you want to monitor, let's say some cattle, you can throw up a camera. You could obviously be a low quality camera, maybe 240, right? It can't be high, because remember, you're going to end up with that 1-by-1 connection. But you can also do like ring cams, and you could do anything that's IoT. Your toaster, your refrigerator, everything can run on this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And it's none the wiser, because there's enough data there for you to be able to handle it, for it to be able to do it. So the beauty of this, like I told you before, is you have the ability to switch from plan to plan to plan whenever you want to, right from your phone. You just pick up your phone, you load the app, and you make the switch. And it happens instantaneously, and once again, it will prorate. You can't beat that. Meaning that if you're currently on the $5 plan where you have that, as I call it, the zombie mode, right? Or as they call it, the standby mode, and you want to go to something that gives you 100 gigabytes of data, and you pay the $50 per month, you just switch that over to that roaming 100 and you're good. And then when you're done with your camping or when you come back home, you switch it right back over to zombie mode for $5 a month, and you're good. And that is it. And it stays in that zombie mode, and you can use it for all your IoT and checking mail and whatever else you want to do. Like I said, of course, there's a lot more than the few things that I gave you that you can do with the 1x1 connection, symmetrical, but you could figure it out, whatever works for you. Now, before we dive into exactly how to use it and for what, to save you the most amount of money, let's just review for a second. The Mini went from $599 now all the way down to $199. My speculation, it has to do with a new one going to be coming out in the next 2, 3, 4 months. Okay, so hang tight for that. The other thing that happened is they killed the plan, the 10x10 plan. You no longer have a 10 gig for 10-month plan. It's not available. You have to go to the $50 plan, which gives you 100 meg. But think about it. Remember, you are going from a 10x10 plan that was $10, okay? 10x10 plan, $10, you got 10 gigabytes. Well, now for $50, you're going to get 100 gigabytes. But of course, it is more expensive. That's just the way it is. But you are getting more service for your money, regardless. Remember, if you don't need to go to that 100 plan and pay the $50, just stick with the $5 plan and you should be good for the majority of the things that you need to do. Okay. The other thing is that the new plan, that $50 for 100 gigabytes, that plan is active going forward. And if you need something a little bit better, I should say a lot bit, you can go from $50 to $165. Look, I know it's a big jump, and at that point you get unlimited. Bear in mind, there's a caveat with that $50 plan. If you go from $5 to standby or zombie mode over to the $50 plan, you get 100 gigabytes of data. When you use up all of the 100 gigabytes of data, it no longer allows you to purchase more. Let me repeat. You cannot buy additional gigabytes of data for $1 a gig. They don't have that anymore. You must go to the next plan, and the next plan is $165. But what they did do is once that 100 gigabytes of data is used for your $50, it doesn't turn off. It just simply downgrades to the zombie mode, meaning that you go from that full speed down to 1x1, but they don't charge you anything extra. That's it. For the rest of the month, you get free coverage at 1x1 service. So it's still working, but you're just not going to be able to sit there and watch Netflix. Are you following that? Hopefully that helps. A lot of people don't know this. That's why I try giving you all of these little nuances and little tidbits, because people don't cover this. I watch other channels. I'm like, God, they're missing half the story. And that's why I try covering the other half, what other people aren't covering, to hopefully help you out. Now, there's another thing that I'm sure a lot of you are not aware of that I never hear on any other channels, is the fact that in Europe, the Mini is agnostic. It can use both the residential and the roaming plans, whereas in the US, the Generation 3 is fully agnostic and can also use both plans. And this gets into how do you use it if you are an RVer or a camper or someone that is just loves the outdoors and they want to have internet while they're out and about. Not only just emergency service when they're home, but also internet when they're out and about. And this is how you would do it. So let's look at use case. Let's say we take that Mini and we're going to go on a trip. Maybe we're going camping, or maybe we're going out to a cabin, or maybe we're climbing a mountain with it. All right, let's take a bunch of different scenarios. If let's say we went to the cabin with the entire family and everyone's going to want to watch Netflix, well, we're going to have to go from the $120 plan to the $165 unlimited plan, mobile or roaming unlimited plan. And now everyone in the cabin will be able to watch Netflix and do whatever they want, play video games or whatever. Now, if you're just there with your wife, let's say you're only going to be there instead of a month, maybe a week or so, and 100 gigabytes is enough information, enough data. And then once again, it drops back to a 1x1 symmetrical. If that's good enough for you, instead of $120 a month, you're going to go onto your app and you're going to switch it to $50. The $50 will give you that 100 gigabytes. That's going to save you right there $70. You'll be out there for your week or two. And then when you come back to the house, you flip back your $120 plan, your full-blown plan, and everything is great. Now, if you're one of those people that are going hiking or maybe to climb the top of a mountain someplace and you want to have an emergency backup, well, that's perfect for zombie mode. And it'll cost you $5 a month. So you're going to switch that plan from the $120 a month down to $5 a month, and you will go on your trip and you're going to get a 1x1 connection symmetrical. Meaning that you're going to be able to do all of the stuff that I told you could do, from maps and voice calls and sending images and all kinds of other stuff. Low res video, all that kind of thing. And now you went from 120 down to $5. Okay. And you have 100% coverage. It doesn't matter if you're on a beach someplace in the middle of a desert, on the top of a mountain, you're still going to have those speeds, still going to have that coverage, which to me is absolutely mind blowing if you think about it. If you think about having this type of an emergency backup 10, 20, 30 years ago, you couldn't do it. I mean, what did you have? Like sat phones? You would pay like thousands of dollars. It just, and they're in geocentric or geostationary orbit at 36,000 kilometers compared to the LEO orbit that we're currently using at like 500, 550 kilometers. It's just they're not even in the same ballpark. Okay. Not even close. So these are the type of things you can do to really save money. You got your 120 when you're in the house. You have your 50 if you only need 100 gigs. Then you can even lower it down to $5 and you have standby. What's really nice too is, let's say you're going away on vacation. You don't need to bring the mini. You can still switch that down to standby mode when it's at the house. And now all of your IoT stuff still work. Your toaster, your refrigerator, your Ring camera, your doorbell, any type of low-res video tracking. There's a lot of people that use it also for farming so that they know how much water is in a specific tank or what's going on with cattle moving around. They have sensors. Everything is connected to it. Once again, IoT or Internet of Things. It doesn't require a lot of data, and a 1x1 symmetrical connection is more than sufficient. So for $5, you get a ton of value, an absolute ton. So I guess to sum up here, in my personal opinion, the biggest hack that people are currently not using because they don't understand it is that zombie mode or standby mode. People have complained about it for a long time, but they don't understand it. It is a bricking insurance, okay? Number one. First and foremost, meaning that if you have a brick system because you haven't turned it on in a long time and it doesn't work at all when you need it to work, that's a problem. With that $5 a month or $60 a year, that will prevent that from happening. And then all of the things that you can do with that 1x1 connection is absolutely crazy. Okay, that is the biggest hack. And to be able to have a SpaceX Starlink Mini for $199 is unbelievable. Throw it in your car, use it while you're driving. You could use it on the top of a mountain, in the middle of a lake, and in the middle of a desert. And if you want, you can switch it over to standby. And now for $5, you have just an amazing service. Now, we've come to the end of this video, but you're still here. Most people have already checked out. So for you still being here, I'm going to give you a free month of SpaceX Starlink. Now, this is how this works. I get a free month and you get a free month. SpaceX has never given me a single dime for all these 600 plus videos I've put together for you. I'll put a link over here. Not a single dime. But if you use my code, you get a free month and I get a free month. That's the whole skinny behind it. So whenever you buy new hardware, go to JCristina.com/Starlink. Once again, JCristina.com/Starlink. You're going to get a free month and I'll get a free month. That's it. Hopefully this helps. And in my personal opinion, I think getting a SpaceX Starlink Mini is a no-brainer for anybody. I don't care who you are. If you are in the north right now and they're getting pummeled by snow and service goes out and there's no electricity, you could take your SpaceX Starlink Mini, throw it on the ground, plug it into a Jackery or into a battery, and now you have a way to get out there. You have a way to get emergency service. You have a way to communicate with family. The same thing holds true with us down here in Florida. Hurricane rolls through, it knocks out the power, it knocks out the fiber, it knocks out everything. There's no more service. We could once again throw that Mini on the ground, plug it into a 12 volt, and we have full connection to our family, to emergency services. We can get weather reports. We could do anything. All the stuff that I told you can do with that one-by-one connection. And that's if it's just simply off, on standby. But if we have actual full service with it, we can do anything. We can have service for the entire house simply running on a battery using like 35, 40 watts of power. One of those EcoFlows or Jackeries or solar generators is going to run this thing indefinitely. With a couple of solar panels, you're good. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've gotten some value out of it, throw the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with your friends, family, colleagues, Reddit, Facebook, wherever you traverse the web. That would be very, very helpful. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. And if you want to give back, there's a little thanks button over there. You can click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, it's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And if you haven't visited my website yet, check it out. Go to JCristina.com/shop. Once again, JCristina.com/shop. If there's some merch that you like over there, pick it up. Help support me and my family. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, hopefully through SpaceX Starlink, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.